Hey.
Hey, man. So thank you guys for joining us. We're here with a very good friend and amazing cinematographer, Tarik Smith.
What's cracking? What's up?
What's up? This dude's the man.
So, the intro of me, my name is Tarik Smith. I am a cinematographer, video editor, and CEO of Code Switch Productions. In Code Switch Productions, we specialize in live performances, live streaming, live events, photography, and videography. I currently partner with a company named PSO, which is a pole dancing company where I fly from state to state or country to country. I document their event with photography and videography. I then bring it back. I edit it for our clients. Some clients are 100, some clients are 80, and they're all over the world. Some are in France, Nice, some are in Switzerland, some in LA, some in Canada. Yeah, that's my future of what I'm currently doing. Yeah.
This man's Mr. International over here.
For now.
Not forever. That's the key, man. We got to step out of America. So what got you into cinematography? What got you into filmmaking in general?
My dad. My dad was the reason why I enjoyed movies. I never really enjoyed movies. I just watched it when they would put Disney Channel on, or you get the orange tape from Nickelodeon. That was pretty much it. But then the person who generally was just like, he didn't let me, but I accidentally watched Mulholland Drive, or serious movies that I should not be watching that I was like, whoa. But then he would give me an opportunity to communicate about what the feeling was or why I liked it. He even got me into Wes Anderson, which I don't think he knew that was something that he was like putting, or I would say planting a seed into me. But all of the weird abstract films that he would watch are all, and I would assume every person of color had a moment where your dad or your parent was into like Chinese movies or Korean movies. It stemmed from there with like the Wu-Tang and all of that stuff, and he would just watch a bunch of movies like that. And so those were the times where I would see different things I normally wouldn't see, because again, it's not English. You would generally have to like absorb it. And from there, he would just expose me to a lot of different things that my mom would never really want me to watch. But my father was more so like, oh, you're generally into it. And from there is when I picked up a camera and I was just like, oh, I can tell these stories too.
And how did we meet?
It was on the set. Well, there's two answers to this one. For me, the first time I saw Jose, the first time I met you, was on a Brooklyn College set, and the director was Zanea. Jose, I believe, had connections to the bar that we were shooting in. So that was the first time meeting him. I was the first AC, and I think I was filling in to do jokes so that we can get some B-roll. And I think that was the first time we saw each other. I was just like, oh, okay, this person's special. He was just the person in the background. Jose was the person in the background that didn't really say anything. So I thought he was one of those like angry Dominicans. So I didn't really know how to respond to him until he did like the smile that you generally just saw right there. And then I was like, oh, okay, you chill. And that's where our relationship started.
It's bipolar. It's January 21st, and yesterday felt like the first day of spring. And now we're here in Guyana, and we're all going to get sick. Yeah.
Good to know, because I didn't know that. I didn't know I was going to get sick.
I'm just, like, this is me right now in the middle of a rainforest. Well, yeah, I'm going to get sick.
That's not very positive.
No, I'm going to pull through. That's the positive part. That people want to see the conflict, and then they want to see the hero win.
Ooh, you a writer, aren't you?
Know what I'm saying?
You a writer, aren't you? Where's My Inheritance was the first time that I saw your skill set. Because that was the first time where it was just you and me. So when I saw, one, how we schedule things, work together, broke things down, and then what I was impressed the most when we came home and you had to write a script. And I've never seen somebody write a documentary script word for word, beat for beat of everything that needs to be done in detail. And that was the first time I was just like, okay, he has vision. because he has an idea of what it needs to look like without having to, I don't know, like, that's how I knew that you could possibly be an editor. And that was before you were even editing, because he was writing the script in a way someone who edits would fully understand exactly what they need to do, which made my life easier. So that was the first time I saw your skill set of being like, oh, this is his writing ability, but it could be more than just that.
The first time I saw your skill set, which was Hustler's Chronicle, that was like our first actual like production where we were like, our feet were held to the fire. We were like trying to figure out certain scenes, and like we also had to just work around what we had. And I was super impressed with your lighting. I mean, obviously I love your DP skills, but I think that there are very few people who get my lighting and like they understand that there's a bit of a theme that I'm going for. And you always knock it out of the park. Like every time I'm like, dude, this is what I need. I don't even have to tell you at this point, because you just get it. And that was cool to see, because like a lot of it, I guess at the time, since we were like figuring out our language, yeah, I don't know, you just like pulled through really fast. And like the fact that you're able, and you're just very knowledgeable, like even though we didn't have anything that we needed, because there were a lot of things you were talking about, like, oh, this would have been cool if we had this, but you worked around it. And that's why I love working with you. Like you always find a way.
I just feel like if you have immigrant parents, you know that you know how to figure out how to do stuff with little to nothing. All I know is that I come from that, so that's just easy for me. But I know what you're talking about, because you're talking about things of which other people have brought to my attentions. Of like, I feel like there's a difference between what a person is gifted in and what a person is like skillful and could do. And what you're talking about are things of which I don't even acknowledge. And I would say the fast of like setting up shots or getting things from someone's brain to a screen fast when we don't have time. And I learned how to do that quickly to the point where I got just efficient at it, faster and faster. It had to do possibly with just having little to no time or little to no money in spaces where I just needed to be able to set up. And then majority of the time, I didn't have grips, electrics. I didn't have any of those things. So majority of the times, and Jose can contest to that, my attitude is get out the way and give me the gear. I don't want to spend time trying to explain things, and I will for people who generally want to know. But like even when I was in Kingsborough Community College, people liked me because they knew I'm gonna do all the work, and I knew that if you want this A, shut up and be in my group. So I'm digressing super hard, but I've always been that type of person where it's like, some people say like, hold my beer, watch me. But that's always been a thing that I was able to do, even in Where's My Inheritance or Hustler's Chronicles. It was more so, this is what we have and this is the budget. I can give you even examples of like that lighting the car scene in Hustler's Chronicles, where it came together. Jose went to Home Depot. I either said something or he knew of being like, cool, we getting it. We got the AA or these big chunky batteries that nobody uses, probably in boombox. We lit the car. We placed them in places where, again, it wasn't ideal, but we figured out how to do it. And then it started raining on top of that, which changed the whole entire environment of how do we do this and not wet these actors. But okay, cool. So we had to roll down the windows to give an effective shot. Like we were just moving fast to adapt to what we needed, and it came out.
I think the next big one that we did, which was like the biggest thing we've ever done, was Where's My Inheritance, where we traveled to Guyana for 2 weeks. We were staying at the Marriott. Charisse Holder was the producer. We had Mr. Holder, Mr. Wilfred Holder.
Well, the last time I came here, it was 3 years ago for my mom's funeral. But before that, I was away for about 18 years. And when I came back the first time, I was amazed at the radical change we had in the country, because when I left, the country was totally different to what I saw when I came back.
Who has passed away since then. That dude was amazing. He definitely hooked us up. He was our guide throughout the whole process. And
And dad.
Yeah, pretty much. We have a lot of love for that man. Respect to Mr. Holder. When we were there, it was a lot of moving on our feet because we had zero control for the most part. We just had our cameras. There were, of course, a couple of interview segments that we did that we could control, but for the most part, it was very guerrilla style, run and gun, back of trucks, walking through forests, going from like place to place. We did the Rastafarian party, which was really cool. What was your takeaway from that project overall? Like just the experience, going in head first, not having the same level of control you normally would have on a narrative piece. How did you feel about that and adapt?
In it, I feel like it has to do with me and my ability, because I feel like as artists, most of the time we spend working on our craft, not really doing it like we would ideally doing, or putting the 1,000 hours in. And I felt like that moment when you hit me up and it was like, hey, we're going, it was a compilation of, okay, you did the work. Like, because prior to that, I think I did the AV and then there was nothing. So I was already going through this weird space of like, I don't know what we're doing with life right now. College is over. Most of the things and responsibilities that you would normally have are just, they're not there, or they're changing. So my life was changing at that time. And that was a moment of being like, okay, if I can't get the traditional job, or if I can't do the traditional thing that so-and-so's doing, let me go over here and do that. And those 10 days were my opportunity to flex on all of the work that has been done prior to that. I will say that was the most time I would say I was betting on us. I invested in things. I bought equipment that I normally didn't have the money for, but I was like, this is going to be it. And then on top of it, it was something that we're choosing to do. It wasn't client based. It wasn't any money. We both know that it had nothing to do with money. It was more so, hey, it's 10 days. You go for a place and you get to shoot something. So that was good enough. Prior to that, that was what I was feeling. Yeah.
So basically you walked in like, I've been training for this.
Pretty much. Did I know exactly what was going to happen? No, because I didn't know the two people that you introduced me to at the time. We would go to Brooklyn Museum and actually like write down what we're generally going to do. That was the first time being like, okay, these are these people. So I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. All I knew was Jose, and I know my ability, so we're just gonna do this. Towards the end, I didn't care what was gonna happen. I just wanted it done for Mr. Holder. Mr. Holder was the reason why we went out there. Mr. Holder was the reason why we got to interview so many people. Mr. Holder was the glue to majority of this stuff. So I only needed to be good for him. Like, to be honest, I generally didn't care where it went. If Mr. Holder was happy with what we created, it was fine. And unfortunately, he passed away the way he passed away. And that's the thing that also what matters to me is like, I just needed it done for him. Like, that man made that happen, and I felt like telling this story was telling his story. And we had something valuable, like having access to him towards the last months of his life. Like, we have that on camera. That's something that is precious. That's something I take serious now. So I guess that's what I want. I wanted it done for him. I wanted it great for him. I wanted it great for his family.
What inspired the story of White Boy?
Depression, anxiety. I'll explain. So, there's a lot of backstory to this. So, I was fresh out of college. There was no app. There wasn't anything. I think what I was doing at the time was I was a cameraman for a church in Queens. Named Shekinah. So that was the only thing I was doing, and I was only working on Sunday. So I was kind of just like, what are we doing? Like, life is kind of leaving me. I wasn't able to get the traditional jobs. I wasn't able to do any of those things. So it's kind of like it wasn't it at the time. And then I get a into a situation where somebody from California needed some help on something, and he was from Queens just like me. So I believe at the time I just had these ideas, and then I was just like, well, we just gonna have to just write. And I was a part of this collective called it's called a creative space, where we held each other accountable for the things that we generally wanted to do. And what I was held accountable was to write some form of script. I didn't really know what it was, but I just wanted to finish it off. So I just started writing about what I knew, and it turned into this story from what I knew. Some boy who loved skateboarding, who was bullied, and I knew that, and I understood that I wasn't bullied, but I knew what that came from. So that was where it kind of stemmed from. Again, me being sad, depressed, and just like, I don't really know what we're doing. Yeah, I was just like, well, we're just gonna create something. And then from there, I finished the script. I started passing it to people that I generally care about, and I care about their opinions. Sent it to Jose. Jose decided to produce it. Sent it to James McKenzie. Shouts out to you. He gave me his tidbit. He also was just like, I'll be a part of it as well. He was my DP, right hand man. I only trust people with locks, but he ain't got no locks no more. But we gonna talk about that later. But it was more so, yeah, I'm gonna do it with film school people that I know, and my family and friends. And again, that was my money. I couldn't find another actor, so I became the actor. And then we were just like, we're gonna do it. I even had my father a part of it, which is full circle, because my dad is the reason why I make films, and for him to be a part of it was integral. So kind of the same thing as when your grandmother was a part of your films, how integral that was of a full circle moment, because she provided the things or the resources to make this possible. It's the same thing as kind of like, hey, like, this is what we doing, you can be a part of it type thing. So I was proud to also do that for my dad. Yeah, so I leaned on majority of the people around me. So my best friend, who doesn't know anything about sound or any of those things, like, he was always a part of it. He also starred in it, so that was cool. He was one of the skateboarders. Chris Fox was, again, integral part of majority of the productions that you will possibly see while this B-roll rolls. Yeah, he shouts out to you. But as a whole, he was an actor. He also, the sound, the person who you hear the music he was the person that I helped out in California. His name is Kadeem Nichols. So all of these people already were talented, and they were just like, we'll just support you. I had little to no budget, but at that time they were kind of like, we're gonna rock with it. Like, and the film students who generally mess with me had other people that they were like, yo, just hold it down. And they would come one day or a few hours. Like, my sister was working a slate one time when Martinique wasn't there. Martinique now is my wife, but she was helping as well when she could. There was everybody. And then my grandmother also let me use her crib. Shouts out to grandmas. Shouts out to y'all, because y'all are the reason why most of this stuff happens. But like, she let me shoot in her place, let people come up and down. Like, she was more so just like, whatever you need, which was monumental to making that possible. Day one, again, everything happened, but then because I'm my one band and the actor and all of those things, I became sick. I didn't eat. I didn't do any of the necessary things to like make sure my body was right, because I was paying attention to everything. So day one, I was sick as a dog, and then I was trying to explain to my father, hey, I'm working, and he's like, hey, but you sniffling. And I'm like, dog, this ain't the time right now. But he wants to be a dad, and I'm like, I need you to be an actor today. I don't really need you to be a dad. So I was kind of dealing with that, and then just again, not paying attention to my body, and then rushing through a bunch of stuff. I will say towards the end of the production, I was crazy sick, and that was all to my doing. And I will say that was the moment where I know I don't ever want to act in anything that I produce, because I don't ever want the trouble of having to throw your body on the floor, do all those things, and then wake up and go, all right, we're going to do it again the next day, or be accountable for other things. Get actors. Don't do it yourself. But if you have to, if the role is for it, I won't. But that's something I learned from it, of being like, hire people to be your acting, so that you can be crew, or just like be on the sidelines looking pretty watching it.
What advice would you give to anyone who wants to get into filmmaking in general? Being that you are, because we've all had to become jacks of all trades, especially in the environment of filmmaking today. It's not like it was, right? What advice do you have for anyone starting out?
Don't do it. Just sell drugs. It's way more money. No, all jokes aside, if this is generally what you want to do it as much as possible when it has no pressure attached to it. Do it when no one's watching. Do it when it makes no sense. That's my example of like what I've been doing. I'd say for the past 5 years or so, because prior to that I really wasn't like just doing it for the love of it. It was like, how much? So don't be fixated on the dollar amount. And I know how stupid that sounds because we need to get paid, but you can't get good off of dollar amounts. You have to make a bunch of bad stuff. You have to make a bunch of good stuff. You have to try a bunch of different things. You have to experiment and push yourself in ways in which you never would do it, because those are the moments in which you're generally going to get or reap the benefit that you're looking for. You're never going to find what you need from a dollar amount or any of those things. And again, I'm speaking for a person who had my issue, which is I'm doing it for the money. And because I always think of Jimmy Alvarez when he was just like, bro, like, and not everything you gonna get in return is currency. Some things are untangible that you will get. Some of them are relationships that you'll get from just working and working and working and working. Like, yo. So I'd say that continue to keep doing it. If this is what you want to do. If you do not want to do this, find another skill set. Find another hobby. Do it part-time. I won't even say do it full-time if you don't even know how you feel about it all the way. But it's generally, if this is something that you wake up, and this is people who generally do this a lot. If you wake up and the first thing you think of is, I got to get this shot off, or I need to get this edit, or this is in my head and I need it. Those are the people who are generally want to do it because they want to do it. Period. Like, man, I know a lot of people who are like that, who will create just for the sake of creating. And that was always a thing in which that was being told to me when I was stuck in my ways about, well, this isn't coming fast enough, or I don't understand why this isn't working. Work, continue to keep working through that. Like, because everything else is going to be a distraction. Even yourself, you are going to be your own distraction. So the best thing that you can do is keep operating at your 100%. Do the 1,000 hours, the 10,000 hours. And then when you're done with 10,000, do 20,000. Like, do the work. Work like a true Jamaican. Like, or whatever you want to fill it in. Work like a true Dominican. Like, do it like your grandparents were doing it when they had nothing. Don't do it if you're not going to do it like how they do it. Because if you're not, you're wasting your time.
True.
Period.
And to piggyback off of that, you know, nobody's going to pay you for something they've never seen you do.
Boom. What just happened, Jose? What just happened, Jose?
What happened was I was in my jammies. I was inside my house filming. This is a set. And, yo, we got it done in like 3 days, though. That's it. We're coming for the asses, bitch.
But one time he ain't got nothing to say.
I don't got nothing to say. We fucking did it. My man Todd, my man Ding, the fucking Dream Team. We fucking Miami and Chris Bosh, we went to Miami. Kevin Durant going to Golden State.
I don't know. That has nothing to do. What we got going on?
What happened?
Hey, I don't know. Like amazing things that's happening.
You better say something.
Get me right.
I was celebrating.
Get me right.
Wait, what am I getting? There's not even a code switch on your back. What are you talking about? Get you right.
Hey,
You're fucking up. Fucking up. Look at that.
That's what we doing right now. We taking shots at 8 in the fucking morning. 8 in the fucking morning.
It's actually 11:40 for those who really care.
It don't matter. It's still the morning.
Thank you.
Time to dice it up.
Sacheti, it wouldn't have been possible without you. You're amazing. Thank you so much for your talent. Thank you so much. You're the one.